Today I'm going to be reviewing this DeWALT planer. It's the DW735 planer. I've had this planer for about 6 months and overall I'm pretty happy with it, but I can tell you the things I don't like and things that you can do to make this operate a little better and have an overall better experience with this planer. As far as setting this thing up out of the box, it comes completely assembled except for this adjustment knob. You do have to put that on, and I think that's the only thing you need to install. However, these do not come on the planer. They're an additional piece that you can buy. I just wanted them because why not? They help with making the cut a little more stable, and then help with the in-feed and out-feed. So those are a little bit of a pain to install. I think it's just this and this on both sides. This bolt and this bolt on both sides. This one's a little, I think it's like on a spring or something. One of these is on a spring and it's kind of annoying to put on. But it took, maybe 15 minutes to install those. But everything else, like I said, comes completely assembled. All right, first off, I'm gonna do a piece of roasted red oak. We're gonna put that through the planer and see how well it does. So right off the bat, you can tell where you had some snipe right there on the front, which is kind of weird, but I would say that's actually pretty typical of this planer. I've noticed a snipe about that deep into the wood on both sides. This time it didn't do it as much. Actually, you can't even really see any snipe on the back, but it definitely did it on the front. It does do a really smooth job right out of the gate. I did do this on the, on the dimension setting. There is a finishing setting and that cuts a lot finer, a lot smoother. So definitely on this planer, I would count on getting a snipe on either the front or the back, or sometimes both. You're just gonna need to factor that in and buy longer wood for your project. So here's the difference between the dimensioning setting and the finishing setting, and I'll just do a quick demonstration on that and show you the differences. All right, just to show you the comparisons here, this is the one I ran through on the dimensioning cut, and this is the one I ran through on the finishing cut. As you could tell during the finishing, it ran through a lot slower, and that's to allow the blade to hit the board more times. I can't really tell a big difference in smoothness. I mean, there is a difference, but it's not a huge difference. If you're going to be sanding your project anyway, it's not going to matter that much on which setting you do run the board through. However, you can see that there is a snipe on this one and on this one. So you're just going to have to make sure that you plan for that when you buy your lumber. Here's just another demonstration. This is an old project I did where I was attempting to make butcher block countertops just out of some pine. So I glued these all together, and you can see they're very uneven, and there's a lot of glue squeeze out. So this is what that planer can do to this kind of project. This is what it turned out after I put it through the planer. This is finished. This came out super smooth. I barely had to do any sanding to this. One of the things I really like about this is this, the way it raises and lowers. It is really, really smooth, and it does it to such a fine detail. There's not really a huge difference. When you spin it, it just barely moves. If you can see, it just barely moves. So you can really hone in on really accurate size measurements for your dimensions when you're cutting your pieces out. It says right here that for 1 revolution, it equals 1/16 inch, either raising or lowering. One thing that I do not like about this is that the dust collection is in the back. And sometimes what can happen is you'll forget and your hose will go there when you probably should put it up here or here. And if you put it there, then sometimes your board will actually just stop halfway through the planer. And then when you move it out of the way, it doesn't start rolling again for some reason. So you actually have to just start over, and it can really mess up your cuts. So you'll have to just start over, and yeah, that's one thing I don't really like about this one. I wish it was located on the side. Another thing that it causes is I've found that just hooking it on here helps get it out of the way, but what it does is it creates a backlog of dust in both of these turns here. So it can be a little harder on your dust collection system. Sometimes you just have to like wiggle it, get all the dust back out of that hose. So that you can continue working. One thing I don't ever use is this turret stop. What it's used for is so that you don't go any deeper than whatever you set this at. So let's say you have a board that's 1 inch, then you would set it at, let's say you don't want to plane further than 3/4, so that it will never ever be thinner than 3/4 of an inch. You would set that there. I don't ever use this. I just use this gauge here for all of my thicknesses. Or what I would do is use some sort of caliper to measure mine so that I get the correct thickness of the wood. And then this gauge here can be pretty helpful. What it does is it raises and lowers, tells you how much material you're taking off while you're cutting. It can be useful, but it doesn't move unless the material is already in the planer. So it's kind of like, well, it's already taking off X amount of material, so there's not much I can do because it's already in the planer, but it is kind of nice to have it on there. Overall, this planer is very nice. It is one of the top of the line for sure. I'm never disappointed with my DeWALT tools. I was really cheap with my tools when I first started woodworking, and now that I finally started making some money doing woodworking, I started buying better tools, and I've noticed that with better tools, there's less frustration and a lot better turnout with your projects. So yeah. All right, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment below if you would like to see more tool review videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.